Larry, have you seen the film?
I have not. You know, I don't really get out with horror films like that too often. So,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that from now on, we're going to be talking full spoilers for Halloween Ends.
spoil away.
This is the last topic of the day. And so if you have not seen the film and you don't want to be spoiled, I thank you for tuning in to our broadcast today. But if you do care about being spoiled, or if you don't care, you know, feel free to stay and have some fun. But I have my own review on my channel, and not Larry, but Elliot does as well. But out of Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends, how do you rank these three?
It is, listen, Halloween Ends is at the bottom of the barrel, Larry. You ain't missing out, my friend. I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy to see this film because it is a waste of breath, of time, and energy, and finances. So it's at the bottom for me. Then next is Kills, which is crazy, Larry, because by the way, have you seen any of the newer ones since the reboot of the trilogy since 2018?
I think I only saw like the very first of the reboot.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, Kills was atrocious last year. It was a very bad film, but this film Ends makes that one look even better because of a certain character, which is highlighted in his own franchise, is more involved in Kills. And then number one for me is 2018. It's the best story of the three. It's the most cohesive, most focused, and it's just the best film out of the newer trilogy, tied into my favorite horror film of all time, which is 78 Halloween. So yeah, that's kind of my personal ranking on the new three ones.
Yeah, I agree. The first one that came out in 2018, that's the best, and I still wasn't in love with that one. I thought Halloween Kills was atrocious, and I just didn't understand why. Yeah, I didn't understand all that and why they sidelined Laurie Strode.
Yeah,
you know, they put her and Michael didn't even meet. But this right here is the most absolute worst piece of garbage I've ever seen in my entire life, Larry. It was horrible. If you're watching out there, I hated it. This is supposed to end the franchise. This is supposed to be the icing, the cherry on the top of the cake,
right?
And it started out well. You know, it was a different direction because this is full spoilers. There was a babysitter by the name of Corey that accidentally kicked a boy over the stair railing on the third floor, sending him to his death, like breaking his neck and his bones.
Brutal.
And it was horrible. And I did not expect it at the very beginning of this film. It was a shocker. I did not know why they started the film that way, but I was impressed and I was really interested, you know, and where they were going with that. Elliot, how did you feel about that opening scene?
Couldn't agree with you more, B. I thought that the opening was very, very disturbing and off-putting because it's rare that you see kids dying in films. If it is, it's kind of off-screen or kind of alluded to. But Larry, man, again, I don't recommend you ever see this film. But if you happen to be on an airplane and someone's playing it, or if it's the only thing playing, then, sure, maybe take a nap. I would probably recommend taking a nap. But the first, they kill this kid, Larry. He falls on his face, boom, thump on the ground, blood, mom screaming. And the reason that I liked it, B, is because again, being a fan of this franchise, it was it was so a reminiscence of 1978's Halloween when we saw Michael make his first kill. And it's just like that innocence was at that point. That's where any innocence or any goodwill that Corey would have had against the people or even himself, he probably questioned himself after that, where that just went away because he's now going to be known as a murderer. So that opening was really, really well done and kind of tying into this, how Michael has the grip over the town. Even 4 years later, people are killing themselves. Listen, Larry, again, this film is absolute trash, my friend, but the opening, pretty solid. But that lasts all but about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and after that, Larry, we continue to get to know this character right here, Corey. His real name is Rohan Campbell. I've never heard of him before, but you know, at the 15-minute mark, it's staying on him. The 20-minute mark, 30-minute mark, all the way up to about 40, 45, 50 minutes. It's focusing on Ron. And one of the things that I really couldn't stand in this movie, here's his character right here, and this is a scene where he is getting bullied. But never in my bullies exist. It is real. Unfortunately, I wish it would stop. But never in my life have I personally seen bullies be smaller than the victim. This guy had a good 20, 30 pounds on each of them and could have easily manhandled them, in my opinion. Just without any effort.
Which he does later in the film.
Yeah, but you know, he's getting punked by the most unrealistic group of high school students I've ever seen. I would say it in my review, that these characters would never hang out. You know, you have these two white boys, a white girl and this black girl, and their relationship and friendship was just completely unrealistic. The acting was pretty shit too. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't understand. And these kids are really dangerous. I mean, this scene right here, they're damn near murderers because he got his feelings hurt. This guy wants to throw this dude over a bridge. And I don't know. I mean, bullies exist, but I didn't know to that degree. But Elia, how did you feel about the high schoolers, man?
Oh my gosh.
Did you hang out with anybody growing up like that, or
not at all? Not at all. It was very unrealistic, just like this movie, and it was just the terrible writing. As you mentioned, B, there's a jock Larry there, as you can see on the screen. There's like a hipster, there's like a band girl, and then there's like a random girl who's like a goth that's hanging out. It's like this is the most unrealistic group of teenagers I've ever seen. It was like Archie comic characters meet CW. It was absolutely stupid and dumb as hell. And like B said, yes, there is bullying. We can acknowledge that, but my man Corey was 22, 23 years old, and these are probably sophomore, juniors in high school. And as the film gives us later, because he does, I will say, B and Larry, because we're talking spoilers, those kids, I don't condone violence whatsoever, but in the context of this film, they got what they deserve, because he kills them later in the film pretty brutally, and it was the best kills of the film. But that was their best. That's what they brought to the table. Them getting killed was the best part of their whole world. Everything else was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and Larry, imagine you're just at a gas station, a corner store, right? And you're standing outside just trying to eat your Lunchable, drink your milk.
Right. Mind your business.
And a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds come up to you like, hey, man, I'm underage, but I got a few dollars right here. Can you get us a couple of 6-packs, a couple of beers? And you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to buy alcohol for some high schoolers. And they get upset and continue to beat your ass in front of the store. It's just like, I don't ever see that happening ever, and that's kind of how it starts off. That's kind of how we're introduced to these characters. And it's just really over the top, and let me say, I got a super chat from Jojo for $4.99. Larry, pay close attention to their disgust at Halloween Ends, because they're going to give Black Panther 2 the same type of reviews when it comes out. Oh wow! I don't even know if I understand that, but I will.
Fired, huh?
Yeah,
I know. He said it's gonna be trash.
Yeah, we'll see. But thank you so much.
I won't be surprised if it is.
Yeah. So we're already starting out on a bad start. Now, something that is good besides the intro is Laurie Strode.
Yes.
Is Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, I don't really have any complaints with her. She kind of tricked me at the end. Here's her, I think, talking to the director some behind the scenes. And Elliot, how did you feel about the granddaughter in this?
To answer your question, Brandon, I feel very she was trash. Allison was absolutely terrible. And the reason I say that, Larry and Brandon, everyone chat, is because if you do see Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, there's actually a story there. There's actually a character who has faced generational trauma with Laurie being her grandmother. So what comes with that? Well, you're the granddaughter of someone that's been saying there's a killer out there. He's going to come back. He's going to kill us all. She's been prepping for 40 years for this killer that no one has seen, right? Besides the people that he killed in 1978. So she has that on her shoulder. Then she has her mom, who's the daughter of Laurie Strode. So there's so much pressure on Allison to, who is she? What is she? Is she just as crazy as her family is? So she has all that she deals with in the first one. Second one, she loses her boyfriend, and now she's like evil Dyson 9, and she's trying to take out this evil, trying to be more like a Strode, be like her grandmother, and embracing that side of her. And then in this new one, they just completely throw it out of the window, and she is thirsty as hell. I mean, Allison was sleeping with the most, you talk about unrealistic. The cop that she was sleeping with, Larry, again, I don't recommend you see this film, but just in case, like I said, if you so happen to be on your bike and someone's watching it on their iPhone, you're like, oh, what movie are you watching? If you happen to see this frame, there's this 40-something-year-old cop with a no offense to bodies out there, body shaming, beer belly, just uncompletely real, because Allison is a very young, attractive girl. No way in hell that she would be with this guy and letting him hit. That was just absolutely, that was the most ridiculous thing in the film, for being honest with you, besides Michael getting later on. But neither here nor there, Larry. Wow. She's hanging with this cop dad, and then she comes across the Corey guy, and it's head over heels. And the excuse they give us that she's head over heels is because he's experienced trauma. he's known as a killer. People are stereotyping him and putting a label on him without getting to know him. So she can relate to that. So she falls in love with him. And Larry, man, the film's a love story. It's a love story. I think it's essentially a rom-com almost, because it was just
their introduction was indirect, coming from Lori, you know. But going back to that scene at the diner, Larry, I mean, this dude here was just, you know, King Cobra of lames, you know, just like the top of the mountain, top of the hill. It's just like over exaggerated, just like, oh, let me take you home and get your number and suck on your titties, blah. You know, it's like it's unnecessary, you know. I mean, I don't see men acting like this, just, you know, jacking each other off under the table, like, hey, we got to kick somebody's ass, see brass over there, you know. And so it's not realistic. But as Corey is proceeding on throughout the movie, sulking around town, people are upset because they really didn't explain it. You know, Michael Myers hasn't shown up in 4 years, but they need some type of boogeyman. But Corey is going around randomly, and he goes to the sewers. He after he's thrown over the bridge, Michael pulls him into the underground sewers, and through some type of special powers, magic, Michael Myers is able to look into Corey's eyes and I guess transfer his evil spirit into him. And Corey goes around now is the Michael Myers while he's still in the sewers. Now, I don't, for one, it's just a stretch for me to know that Michael Myers has been living in sewers for the past 4 years.
Yeah,
I don't know what he's eating. I mean, there was a homeless man that said that, okay, he does pull people into the sewers, but I don't think he's been eating raw bodies for the past 4 years. I don't know how long that would work. And I can also imagine him going to, you know, Arby's, you know, through the drive-through or something, or walking around, or I just don't get it. But Corey is now the villain, and he kills the homeless man. I think in one of your videos, Elliot, you said that it was kind of self-defense. I didn't buy that, but it was just nothing but forced deaths. Even with Corey trying to take on the role as Michael Myers, it was still very unearned to me. I mean, in one of the older Halloween movies, when the little girl ended up being possessed, I haven't even seen that movie, and that is even more convincing when I hear other people describe it. And so it's just a real stretch of how they try to take it here. But one of the biggest scenes in this movie, Larry, is when you think of Michael Myers, you probably think of supernatural, super strong, unstoppable force that, you know, not even a truck could stop. But for somehow, one of the characters in this movie is able to pin Michael Myers down in a wrestling move and steal his mask. Michael Myers gets punked in his own movie, and somebody's like, you're not. What do I forgot exactly what it said, but like, you're
just a man in a mask. Give me you have something I need. It was, oh my gosh!
And this character takes the mask from Michael Myers, and you know, like, hey, I'll bring it back to you next Tuesday. Larry, I'm not Larry, but Elliot, what was going through your mind, you know, when you were seeing this emasculated man right here? What was you thinking?
You know, gentlemen, again, Halloween is and I can acknowledge a lot of the films are not that great. I can acknowledge that. But at the same time, I grew up with Michael Myers. He's my favorite slasher. Laurie's my favorite final girl. The disrespect on this scene, B, was almost like, you know, just seeing like one of your favorite stars, and whether it's movies or sports, just, y'all need to retire. Just hang the jersey up, fight to live another day. When they take my man Michael and have Corey come in his crib, which, by the way, as Brandon brought up, you know, he's living under the sewers for 4 years. He's pretty much occupying his role. He's been in the sewers just chilling. He goes in this man's crib and takes his mask, Larry. Takes his mask. And this is the same Michael that we just saw a film ago slaughter the whole town. The whole town. Killed the whole town. The man, and you just established he has supernatural abilities. He gets punked by a 21-year-old. Who, by the way, was getting punked in the same film. We just saw that same kid that took his mask get punked by a bunch of little punks. How does that make sense? I don't understand how that works. But anyway, he does that. It was the most disrespectful thing this franchise could have done to the star. No disrespect to Laurie, but Halloween is built on Michael Myers. Disrespected, completely disrespected.
Yeah, Larry, and it also gets worse. Then
it can
yeah,
get worse.
Michael and Corey team up for some type of threesome death murder scene as well. They bring another body into the sewer while I guess was it Corey was straddling him from the back.
Yeah, it was very erotic.
While Michael Myers is stabbing him from the front like this.
Wow.
And he's like, as he's killing him, he's like powering up while Corey is down there, like, oh yes, teach me how to do it.
Halloween edition. Yeah.
Oh my god. The only thing I can imagine would make this worse if they added a Broadway musical scene to it.
Oh, I didn't get to that part yet, but
that wasn't the last one. Evil dies tonight, everybody.
But Larry, at the end of Halloween Kills, man, in 2021, like he was surrounded by the whole town. He was beat, he was shot, he was stabbed, but then he was still able to get up one by one and kill everybody and escape. But in this film here, you know, he gets pumped by Corey, and so that's just pretty whack right there. You know, now Corey did get some decent kills later at the end, kind of like at the junkyard or the tow truck yard or whatever. However, I also think he had an incestual relationship with his mother, his biological mother, which was weird. She liked to
kiss him in the mouth.
Kiss him on the mouth. That was kind of gross. You know, I don't know what that's about. And then she felt remorseful right afterwards. You know, that just was really disturbing too. Why did they put that in the movie, Elliot? Like, can you?
I don't know why they even made this movie, Brandon. So at this point, that question, this whole film was a mystery to me, my friend. I have no idea. Again, I guess it's just, if I were to think into David Gordon Green, the director of this film, and the 19 other writers that wrote this trash, it probably just is just adding more fuel to the fire that he was bullied, he's picked on at home, he's picked on at outside. So it just all it adds up for him becoming the killer. You know, this is just added fuel for him to get the revenge because he killed his mother ultimately. So I guess it's just, you know.
Now, yeah, and there's some nice little kills at the junkyard, like I said, and there's also a nice kill at a pool. You know, with a lady and her I think he was a dentist or some type of doctor. I can't remember. And also, you know, a DJ at a radio station. That was pretty gruesome as well. But no, the beginning of it was good, Larry, and the end of it, the final showdown between Michael Myers and Laurie was actually pretty good. I actually liked it. It was short, but they actually threw down a little bit, and this is the end right here. I mean, she's able to slice them up and maneuver here, maneuver there, and you know, she's able to get the W. I like how they went down. She actually stabbed one hand into she pinned his back, fell in the kitchen. Michael Myers' back fell on the island. She stabs one hand pinned onto the island, stabs another hand down, and you know, nails it down with the frying pan, and then running jumps and throws the refrigerator on his torso so he can't move, and then proceeds to slice him up in various places of his body. It was very Elliot used the word earlier, erotic, you know, like she was getting off on it. But you know, Michael Myers is strong and he was able to bust free. But this threw out some more squabbling. The granddaughter came and broke his arm, and they was able to defeat the monster and have a parade and, you know, destroy his body at a meat grinder at the end. And I don't see how he can ever come back. But
how come people just don't chop the head off?
That was a good question.
Why people always want to stab people 100 times? Why not just take the head?
Halloween H2O, she decapitates Michael with an axe, and the one with LL Cool J, she does that in that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick super chat. Thank you, JoJo99. Larry, Brandon going to be like, my expectations was low, and the movie still was bleach drinking worthy. Like, why they got Black Panther twisting like, hey, I guess. Thank you, JoJo, for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Thank you. But Elliot, man, what else you got on this right here, man? What are your final thoughts? What did I leave out?
Nothing, man. We pretty much, Larry, I think, you know, you have been warned, my friend. Stay away from this film as far as you can, man. It's an abomination.
I have enough stuff on my list to avoid this.
Yeah, it's not good. And listen, and shout out to man. I got some buddies in the YouTube space, in the social media sphere that has defended this film for their own reasons. You know, speaking to what makes this film so good. And I hear what they're saying, but it's the execution to me. Like the Corey stuff could have worked if it was established a film ago. The Michael Myers in the sewers could have worked if they would have killed him in 2018 and had Corey be the one to take on the mantle from that. So it could have worked, but it just ultimately the execution was poorly handled. This would have been a nice film if this wasn't a Halloween film. In my spoiler review, I said, this isn't a Halloween film. This is a interesting babysitter gone wrong, wrongfully accused, taking vengeance, and all that stuff. It could have been a nice separate film from this franchise. But as Brandon alluded to earlier, this is Halloween Ends, the end of a trilogy, the end of a film that took place in 1978. And for you to introduce this brand new character to take over your franchise, over Laurie, over Michael, even over Allison, is completely disrespectful and ridiculous. And I hope David Gordon Green, he's a pretty solid director. As I mentioned earlier, he directed 2018's film, which I think was pretty solid. But whoever's an Exodus film fan out there, because he's going to be directing the next 3 Exodus films that they announced with Blumhouse, I have fear for that franchise after the way he handled this one. So terrible across the board.
And I forgot to mention, Larry, and everybody out there. Michael Myers was not in the movie. He took a maybe
cameo. He's
10,
a cameo.
Yeah, 10 or 15% of the screen time. So it didn't really make any sense. Got another super chat right here from ATX J for $5.
Oh boy!
Let's see here. The granddaughter is pregnant with Michael Jr.'s kid.
Man,
I hope the hell not, man. I hope the hell not. But thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is going to wrap it up for our spoilers review for Halloween Ends. Hopefully, we will never have to see Halloween again.
But we will.
It's going to be the level of this crap that we just got, because we don't deserve it. You know, I think everybody that saw this movie lost like 6 months off their life. And so thank you, Mara.